All right, so picture this. World War II, you're on a German U-boat,
Oh, boy.
low on fuel, and an American destroyer is coming right at you.
Oh, wow.
What do you do?
Well, that's a crazy situation, and that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
A real WWII battle that was a lot more than just your typical submarine warfare.
It went way beyond, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking like hand-to-hand combat on the deck of a destroyer.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Our source today is a YouTube video by Yarn Hub, and it's called...
I love Yarn Hub.
They make great videos. And this one, get this, is called Fist Fight, Submarine versus Ship.
What a title.
I know, right? Sounds like a cheesy action movie.
Total B movie.
But I promise you the true story is even crazier.
Way wilder than any Hollywood writer could think up. So to set the scene, it's March 1944.
Okay.
The Battle of the Atlantic is raging. German U-boats are out there sinking tons of Allied ships.
Causing a lot of trouble.
Yeah, huge threat. But the Allies are starting to gain the upper hand. This battle, though, this one's really special.
It's one of a kind.
Yep.
So let's break it down. First, we've got U-66, one of Germany's most successful U-boats. It had sunk a ton of Allied ships.
Barely racked up a kill count.
Yeah, very successful. But to make things even more interesting,
Oh, this is where it gets good.
they were low on fuel and torpedoes,
Oh, no.
desperately waiting for a resupply ship off the coast of Africa.
Talk about being in a vulnerable spot.
I mean, that's not where you want to be.
Nope.
So then comes the USS Buckley, an American destroyer, part of a hunter-killer group, with one job, take down U-boats,
Sounds familiar.
and their target,
You guessed it.
U-66. The U-66. And it wasn't just a ship versus submarine situation. A TBM Avenger bomber, piloted by Lieutenant Jimmy J. Sellers, spotted the U-66 first.
Oh, wow. So they had air support.
Yeah. And they guided the Buckley in.
So it was a coordinated attack.
Yeah.
With the element of surprise on their side.
Yeah, the U-66 didn't know what hit him.
I bet they didn't.
Now, adding to all this all went down at night.
Oh, boy. Even more dangerous.
But Commander Brent Abel of the Buckley, he was a clever guy.
What did he do?
He used the moonlight reflecting off the water to spot the U-66,
Oh, wow. That's thinking outside the box.
using your surroundings to your advantage.
Exactly. So the U-66, they knew they were caught, and they fired a torpedo.
Oh, no.
But the Buckley dodged it.
They got lucky.
That was close.
It's just the start. Then there was a full-on exchange of gunfire. Can you imagine
I can only imagine.
the chaos?
Now you might be thinking, why didn't the U-66 just dive and escape?
Yeah, that's what submarines are supposed to do, right?
Exactly. But remember, low on fuel. Problems with their diving equipment.
Right.
Diving was too risky.
They might not have been able to get back up.
Yeah, they could have missed the rendezvous point.
Yeah, to get that resupply.
Yeah.
It's too big of a gamble.
They couldn't take that chance.
So what did they do?
So in a last-ditch effort to take out the Buckley, they fired their final torpedo.
Oh, man.
This is a nail-biting moment.
I bet it was. Were they able to dodge it this time?
The crew actually saw the torpedo's bubble trail.
And they just barely avoided being hit.
Oh, close.
It's extremely close. But this is where things get really interesting.
Okay, lay it on me.
The U-66, no torpedoes left.
They're out of options.
Out of options. The Buckley, though,
They're closing in.
closing in, ready to ram.
Wow. You don't really see ships ramming each other these days.
Especially not a destroyer ramming a submarine.
It seems too risky.
Well, that's exactly what happened.
You're kidding.
The Buckley rammed the U-66. And get this, the destroyer ended up mounting the submarine.
What?
It's like something straight out of that Fist Fight title, isn't it?
That is insane. I can't believe that really happened.
I know, right? So what happened next? Well, that's what followed was almost unheard of in modern naval warfare. Hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, wow. On the deck of the ship.
The German sailors, they realized they were trapped. And they engaged the American crew in a desperate fight right there on the Buckley's deck.
Wow, they were fighting for their lives.
And they used anything they could get their hands on as weapons. Shell casings, tools,
Oh my gosh.
even hot coffee.
Wow, that is intense.
Talk about a desperate situation. It was pure chaos.
So what happened? How did it end?
And then, in the middle of this brawl, a grenade exploded.
A grenade.
We don't know for sure who threw it,
Oh, wow.
but the explosion rocked both ships, and it was a major turning point in the battle.
I bet it was. So what happened next? Well, that explosion, I bet, caused a ton of damage.
I mean, yeah, it must have been a huge explosion.
And the Buckley realized they were still kind of tangled up with the sinking U-boat.
Oh, no!
But they had to reverse to get away.
Oh, wow. Talk about a sigh of relief once they finally pulled away.
I bet, yeah. They then spent hours circling the area looking for survivors.
Searching for survivors in the water after all that.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine anyone making it out of there alive.
You think so, right?
But some did.
Yeah, they actually rescued 36
36.
out of the 62 U-boat crew members.
Wow. That's a pretty good number considering.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing considering everything that happened.
And get this. The Buckley didn't lose a single sailor.
Wow, talk about a miracle.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's a real testament to the skill and bravery of the American crew.
They were very, very lucky.
For sure. And Commander Abel actually got the Navy Cross for his actions that night.
Well-deserved, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This whole thing is just unbelievable. I mean, you think of submarine warfare, you think of like this silent underwater game.
Yeah, very stealthy.
Cat and mouse. But this is a surface battle, a collision, hand-to-hand combat.
I mean, it really shows you how unpredictable war can be.
Yeah, no matter how much you plan and train,
Anything can happen.
things can change so fast.
In an instant.
And then there's the human side of things, you know.
Right.
Think about the decisions that both captains had to make.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the German captain, Seehausen.
He chose to stay on the surface, even though he knew the risks.
Yeah, and Commander Abel, he made the call to ram,
Tough choices.
all under pressure, with so many lives on the line.
Yeah, and just to think about the impact on the sailors who were there that night.
I mean, can you imagine the adrenaline?
Oh, the fear.
Yeah.
The psychological effects of that kind of close combat
Especially in a situation like that.
in such an unusual situation.
Yeah. I mean, it had to be profound.
Absolutely. And not just for the Americans. You got to think about those German survivors, too.
Right.
I mean, they lost their captain, their ship,
Everything.
and then to become prisoners of war on top of it.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. It's hard to even think about.
It's a lot to take in.
Really puts things into perspective.
Yeah. It really makes you remember that history isn't just like battles and dates.
Right.
It's people.
Real people and their stories.
Yeah, the people who lived through these events.
So going back to our listeners, I mean, why should they care?
Well, it definitely changes how you think about naval warfare, I think.
How so?
Well, it's a good reminder that things don't always go to plan. And sometimes it comes down to,
A fight.
yeah, a real raw fight for survival.
Right. Like we said, you think of naval battles, you think high-tech weapons.
Yeah, long distances.
This story proves it can get up close and personal really fast.
Definitely. And it also shows that war is never simple.
It's never black and white.
No. It's chaotic, unpredictable. The consequences, they can be huge.
So much to think about with this story. What stood out to you the most?
I think it's the contrast. You have these advanced warships.
All that technology.
Right. But then it comes down to hand-to-hand combat. Real brutal stuff.
Yeah, it's a stark reminder that no matter how modern war gets, the human element is always there.
Always. It's a powerful image.
Definitely. And before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something to think about. We talked about the captains, the crews, decisions made in the heat of battle.
Right.
But what about those 36 German survivors?
Oh, what happened to them after they were rescued?
Yeah, what were their lives like? What was it like to become a prisoner of war after all that?
I mean, how did they process the trauma of that night? Losing their friends, their ship.
It's heavy stuff.
So many stories within this one big story.
Definitely something to think about. Well, that's it for today's deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep